What if the Bible we know is incomplete? What if some teachings were deliberately buried in the dusty shelves of history? Seeker of lost wisdom and hidden truths, welcome beyond the veil of darkness. Today, we embark on a journey to uncover a story lost in the shadows of time. A text so mysterious that it claims to contain the very words of Jesus himself, yet these words are nowhere to be found in the Bible we know. But why? Before we continue, if you've made it this far, take just 2 seconds to subscribe and like the video to support more content like this. Is this truly a lost divine message or a dangerous text the church deliberately concealed? In 1945, in the Egyptian desert of Nag Hammadi, a manuscript was discovered by chance, one of Christianity's greatest mysteries, known as the Gospel of Thomas. This text is entirely different from the 4 canonical Gospels. It contains no miracles, no crucifixion, just 114 brief sayings. And some of them directly contradict mainstream Christian teachings. But does this text truly preserve the words of Jesus? Or was it simply the work of a group of mystics, reshaping faith in their own vision? More importantly, why was it hidden for centuries? We are about to follow these questions to their source. If you're ready, let's begin by diving deep into the historical background. Imagine you're digging up an ordinary clay pot, only to stumble upon ancient, long-lost texts. But what if these texts held secrets powerful enough to change the course of history? First, let's explore how the Nag Hammadi Library was discovered. In 1945, in the Egyptian region of Nag Hammadi, a local farmer named Muhammad Ali Al-Salman and his brothers accidentally unearthed a jar filled with ancient papyrus manuscripts. At first, they didn't realize their value, in fact. They even burned some of them. But the surviving pieces eventually made their way into the hands of researchers, who uncovered something truly unexpected. One of the greatest discoveries of lost Gnostic texts. The Nag Hammadi Library contained a fascinating collection of writings, including a copy of Plato's Republic and various unknown Gnostic texts. But the most intriguing of them all was the Gospel of Thomas. Now, ask yourself, if such an ancient and secret text was discovered, do you think authorities would want to hide it or share it with the world? And what if you were the one who found it, what would you do? How old is the Gospel of Thomas? Historians believe that the Gospel of Thomas was written around the 2nd century CE, meaning it appeared after the 4 canonical Gospels. But who wrote it? The text claims to be recorded by Thomas, the one who preserved Jesus' secret sayings. But was this Thomas really the apostle of Jesus? Or was he the leader of a Gnostic community? Some scholars suggest that the sayings in the Gospel of Thomas may have originated from a much older oral tradition. If true, this means Thomas' Gospel could predate even the canonical Gospels. Differences between the Gospel of Thomas and the 4 canonical Gospels. The 4 canonical Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, follow a narrative structure, telling the story of Jesus' life. The Gospel of Thomas, however, has no storyline at all, just 114 separate sayings, a logia. There is no crucifixion, no miracles, no resurrection, only words focused entirely on wisdom and enlightenment. This raises a crucial question. If the Gospel of Thomas contains Jesus' original teachings, why do the 4 canonical Gospels present a completely different version of events? This debate has persisted throughout history. Some argue that Jesus was primarily a teacher of wisdom, while others claim that the Gospel of Thomas represents a heretical deviation from mainstream Christianity. So, what do you think? Which version is closer to the truth, the Gospel of Thomas or the Bible we know today? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you want to explore the contents of the Gospel of Thomas in more depth, Keep watching, we're about to shed light on the unknown. When you examine the Gospel of Thomas, you find a structure and content that's radically different from the other canonical Gospels. While the four Gospels narrate the life and miracles of Jesus, the Gospel of Thomas focuses entirely on wisdom and sayings. So, what kind of gospel is this? This text was written in Coptic Egyptian and was discovered in 1945 at Nag Hammadi. Unlike the traditional Gospels, the Gospel of Thomas contains no narrative. There's no story of Jesus' birth, crucifixion, or resurrection. Instead, there are 104 short sayings, each containing Jesus' hidden teachings and profound wisdom. However, some of these sayings resonate with the teachings in the canonical Gospels, while others present a completely different perspective. For example, phrases like, "The kingdom of God is within you, and you must know it," explore the theme of finding the divine within. The Gospel of Thomas invites us on a journey of inner discovery and enlightenment. This presents a different perspective from the more traditional Western religious teachings. So, what do these deep, sometimes ambiguous teachings really mean? Some of the key teachings include: the kingdom of God is within you, and when you know it, you will not seek outside yourself. This statement emphasizes that the kingdom of God is an inner experience. Gary Habermas points out that Jesus' teachings are at odds with Gnostic ideas and argues that the kingdom of God is an internal reality, as split a piece of wood and I am there. This saying reflects the idea that God is everywhere. The concept of panentheism suggests that God is both immanent, within all things, and transcendent, beyond all things. The Gospel of Thomas offers profound reflections on the nature and existence of God. If you do not know yourself, you will live in poverty. This line emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and knowing oneself. Inner knowledge and enlightenment are central themes in the Gospel of Thomas. Be awake, then, and gird yourself with great strength, so that thieves do not break into your house. This statement talks about the need for spiritual awakening and vigilance. Spiritual preparedness and worldview are recurring topics in the text. It's clear that the Gospel of Thomas, with its Gnostic influences, was considered heretical by the early Christian church. Gary Habermas highlights how Jesus' teachings contradicted Gnostic thought and argues that the kingdom of God is an internal truth. This suggests that the text offered an alternative to dogmatic teachings and institutionalized religion. Now, let's take a moment to reflect. These teachings propose a search for hidden wisdom and a path to inner enlightenment. How might Christianity have accepted such teachings? Did the church authorities of the time truly see the Gospel of Thomas as a threat, or was it simply a different perspective? What do you think? Would it have been more correct to accept the teachings of the Gospel of Thomas, or to reject them? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. Now that we've looked at these teachings on the surface, there's much more beneath. Let's dive deeper and explore what truly lies within. The kingdom of God is within you. In the Gospel of Thomas, the kingdom of God is often presented as an inner concept. In the early stages of Christian history, this teaching carried a much deeper and mystical meaning. While in the canonical Gospels, the kingdom of God is depicted as an event that will occur at a future time or place. In the Gospel of Thomas, this teaching transforms into an inner experience. Jesus' statement, "The kingdom of God is within you," aligns with many mystical traditions. The kingdom of God is within you. You only need to discover yourself. This teaching emphasizes self-awareness and inner wisdom. Here, The kingdom of God is not an external reality, but an internal one, found within the spiritual depth of the individual, similar to Gnostic thought. This teaching invites individuals to embark on an inner journey, rather than focusing solely on the external world. This concept points towards a process of spiritual enlightenment. Panentheism and the concept of God being everywhere. The phrase "split a piece of wood, I am there," found in the Gospel of Thomas, is often interpreted by many thinkers as a reflection of panentheism. Panentheism is the belief that God encompasses everything, yet also exists within everything. This teaching suggests that God is not just an external being, but is present in every part of nature. Jesus' message that God is everywhere proposes a view of God integrated with nature. "You can find me everywhere" seems to call for finding the divine, not just in sacred texts or places of worship, but in every moment of daily life. This teaching resonates with ancient Eastern philosophies, where God or the divine is believed to be within all things. In religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, and Taoism, the divine is seen as present in everything. Secret knowledge and self-discovery. The Gospel of Thomas presents the idea of secret knowledge, which demands esoteric wisdom and inner discovery. Many passages emphasize self-recognition and awareness. This is closely related to Gnosticism, an esoteric teaching that asserts that divine knowledge is not something to be acquired from the external world or from others. Instead, it is discovered through an internal journey. For instance, to find God, you do not need to leave the world. Rather, you need to remain in the world and know yourself. This statement suggests that the supernatural power is not to be found in the external world, but through one's own inner journey. One can find hidden knowledge by discovering oneself through a process of inner enlightenment. The kingdom of God is within you and its connection with Eastern philosophies. The teachings in the Gospel of Thomas that resemble Eastern philosophies are quite striking. Like Buddhism and Hinduism, which focus on self-realization and acquiring inner wisdom, the Gospel of Thomas also suggests an internal journey. Both traditions emphasize that through the path of finding your true self, one can reach enlightenment. Especially the Buddhist concept of Buddha nature shares clear similarities with the idea of the kingdom of God in the Gospel of Thomas. Both Buddhism and the Gospel of Thomas assert that the process of enlightenment and self-discovery is independent of external authorities. A personal inner journey is a deeply embedded theme in both teachings. Rejection of organized religion. When examining the Gospel of Thomas, we see a questioning of external religious structures and institutionalized religion. In many of his teachings, Jesus does not refer to rituals, religious laws, or institutional frameworks. Instead, he emphasizes inner knowledge, self-awareness, and being alert to the world. For example, in the Gospel of Thomas, the concept of the kingdom of God is not explained in terms of a church or external authority, but rather as a personal experience. This implies that religion should not be based on institutional structures, but should be an individual spiritual path. Do you think this really is secret wisdom? The teachings in the Gospel of Thomas propose a spiritual journey and self-discovery process outside of early Christianity, with close ties to mystical traditions and Eastern philosophies. These teachings were eventually viewed as an alternative to the dogmatic doctrines of Christianity and were considered a hidden threat by the Church. Do you think the teachings of the Gospel of Thomas reveal the true path of Christianity, or are they a dangerous heresy that eventually faded away? In this section, we have focused on the deep teachings of the Gospel of Thomas, highlighting inner wisdom, esoteric meanings, and the journey of self-discovery. If you agree or disagree with these teachings, we would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Now, if you're ready, let's explore why it was considered heretical and why it was rejected. Now, why was this text labeled as heretical by early Christians? Was it truly dangerous, or was it hidden simply to preserve religious authority? When we examine how hidden texts were excluded throughout history, we can see that there was a much deeper struggle behind it. In particular, Gnostic movements were at odds with the Church's power structure. Gnosticism emphasized not just faith, but also the pursuit of knowledge and wisdom. However, traditional Christianity was more focused on salvation through God and the commandments He gave. As a result, texts like the Gospel of Thomas, which emphasized knowledge and inner discovery, were seen as a major threat by the Church. What about Gnostic beliefs? Gnosticism advocated for salvation through spiritual wisdom and inner discovery. This could be seen as an alternative to the Church's external authority-based concept of salvation. Gnostic texts suggested that only an inner awareness was needed to establish a direct relationship with God. Clearly, this threatened the religious hierarchy. Why? Because religious authority depended on the power of controlling knowledge and sacred texts. Considering this, what do you think about the Gospel of Thomas being excluded by the Church? Should we discuss it in the comments? Many historians argue that the rejection of the Gospel of Thomas was not just a theological dispute, was closely linked to the political and social power structures of religion. This text marked a significant turning point in the early spread of Christianity. Before Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire, it was a mosaic of many different beliefs and teachings. This diversity led to the popularity of texts that conflicted with the Church's early teachings. Particularly the Council of Nicaea in 325 CE shaped the theological doctrine of the Church and led to the exclusion of texts like the Gospel of Thomas. The Council defined the boundaries of the Bible and decided which texts would be considered correct. This process allowed the Church to tightly control its dogmas and teachings. With the influence of the Council of Nicaea, different beliefs and teachings began to be deemed heretical. The rejection of Gnostic teachings was part of this. As Christianity gained official status, particularly in the Roman Empire, it became a much more organized institution, and the Church began imposing a singular, correct faith to solidify its authority. So, do you think this text was really dangerous? Or was it simply a threat to those holding religious power? In short, the rejection of the Gospel of Thomas was not just a theological conflict. It was also an attempt to preserve the power structure of the Church. Gnostic texts emphasized the ability of individuals to discover inner knowledge and a direct connection with God, while early Christianity tied this power to sacred texts and rituals transmitted only through the Church and its priests. The religious authority of the time, for this very reason, opposed the spreading of knowledge to the public. What are your thoughts on the exclusion of this text? How do you see the relationship between Gnostic teachings and modern Christianity today? Please enlighten me with your opinions in the comments. The Gospel of Thomas and other Gnostic texts were considered lost or forgotten for centuries. However, in recent years, especially since the 20th century, the rediscovery of these texts has sparked significant interest both in the academic world and among the general public. Have you ever wondered why these ancient texts hold such an important place in the modern world? The rediscovery of Gnostic texts, particularly the Gospel of Thomas, signifies the emergence of a source of lost wisdom. These texts advocate for the pursuit of individual knowledge and inner awareness in opposition to religious authorities. Today, as people seek to embark on spiritual journeys and discover their inner wisdom, texts like the Gospel of Thomas serve as guides. In modern society, the themes of personal discovery and inner freedom have become prominent. Gnostic teachings allow individuals to establish a direct connection with God. This idea resonates with the shift towards more personal and individualized belief systems. Many people who wish to move beyond traditional religious views find that texts like the Gospel of Thomas provide keys to guide their own inner journeys. In recent years, especially with the influence of the New Age movement, there has been a resurgence of interest in Gnostic texts. People are exploring the inner wisdom offered by these ancient writings to take their own spiritual quests to a deeper level. The Gospel of Thomas has become a symbol of this search. Many believe the teachings found within this text can help uncover the lost meanings hidden in the chaos of the modern world. Religious teachings and practices have also undergone changes in this context. For many people today, traditional religious understandings are being replaced by more individualized, personal, and inner forms of discovery. This explains why Gnostic teachings have found a place in the modern world. There is also a renewed academic interest in the Gospel of Thomas and other Gnostic texts. These texts are being studied more in depth by historians and scholars of religion. The teachings found in the Gospel of Thomas help us understand early Christianity and the diversity present at the beginning of the Christian faith. In particular, academic studies exploring the place of these texts in early Christian history and their conflicts with the Church provide important reference points for understanding modern belief systems. As a result, texts like the Gospel of Thomas are emerging not only as historical sources, but also as influential guides for modern spiritual quests. The role of Gnostic texts in modern spiritual practices. Many modern spiritual practices are based on the teachings found in the Gospel of Thomas. The emphasis on inner discovery, personal connections, and the quest for individual enlightenment is central to how people embrace these texts today. More and more, individuals seek to establish a direct, personal relationship with God. Gnostic thought emphasizes personal freedom and individual experience. Furthermore, social media and online platforms have seen a growing number of discussions and shares about the Gospel of Thomas and other Gnostic texts. People are trying to incorporate the teachings of these texts into their own lives. As individuals on spiritual journeys, they blend both ancient and modern perspectives as they navigate their personal paths. The place of the Gospel of Thomas in the modern world is not just a rediscovery of an ancient text, but also a turning point where one era ends and another begins. A text once rejected by the Church and forgotten by the public is now coming to life again for those seeking individual discovery and inner wisdom. Although it may have seemed lost at first, this text has now found a significant place in modern society. The teachings offered by these texts open a new dimension in the personal belief and spiritual development processes of contemporary individuals. Gnostic wisdom is not only a product of an ancient age, but also part of the depth and meaning-seeking process that modern society needs. If you begin to explore these teachings, you may gain a new awareness on your own journey. Today, we delved into the Gospel of Thomas, exploring its impact on early Christianity and its historical and theological significance. This text diverges from traditional Christian teachings, offering an alternative perspective that highlights the pursuit of a direct relationship with God and inner enlightenment. revealing the diversity within the early years of Christianity. Additionally, we saw how historical and theological conflicts surrounding early Christianity help us understand why this text was rejected by the Church. The Gospel of Thomas, as a product of Gnostic teachings, offers the kind of knowledge sought by individuals embarking on a spiritual journey. However, the question of whether this text truly represents the hordes of Jesus remains a debated issue. This text, which played a crucial role in shaping the core beliefs of Christianity, stands in conflict with religious authority. And this conflict has also become a problem reflected in modern religious understandings. Is this the true voice of Jesus, or simply an alternative tradition? So, are the teachings found in the Gospel of Thomas truly the voice of Jesus? Or are they merely traces of an alternative tradition? This is perhaps a question that each individual will seek an answer to in their own spiritual journey. If Jesus indeed spoke these words, how would that have impacted today's Christianity? Would Christianity have shaped itself as a much deeper teaching of inner discovery and personal enlightenment? If Jesus truly spoke these words, what would that mean for modern Christianity? How would it influence today's religious understandings? Would deviating from the Church's dogmas offer us an opportunity for liberation, or would it lead to deeper confusion? What are your thoughts on this? After reading the Gospel of Thomas, has your perception of Jesus' words changed? How do you think Christianity would have embraced these alternative traditions? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's discuss. And if you'd like to explore this topic further, don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Also, what should our next video be about? Should we dive into other important Gnostic texts, or explore other ancient texts that have been lost throughout history? We look forward to your suggestions in the comments.